With ISL Online, you can access and control any distant computer or mobile device. Sign up now and start supporting your customers.
You're watching Tech Talk, brought to you by Tech for Techs. We're a community that supports independent trade with the help of vendors and distributors. We're live Mondays at 8 p.m. London time, and we will be streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can listen to our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, TuneIn, Player FM, and others. And now, here's tonight's show.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tech for Tech Tech Talk. This is a live show where we try and, help your business grow. I'm Phil Griffiths, this is...
I'm Jenny, and we're your hosts tonight.
That's it. And tonight we're talking about distributors, or should we say it's the Distributor Quarterly Review Show. So we've got a few distributors on. I'm just going to turn the chat on here. So if anyone would like to let us know if they can actually hear us to begin with and see us, that would be a good start. And we know we're not talking to ourselves. Obviously, if you tell us where you're watching from, your business name will give you a shout out. And obviously, it'll be on the screen here. We can see Welshie Tech is saying hello, everyone. Hi, Welshie. And we've also got Jay as well. Good evening, Jay. I'm presuming you can hear us well. And, there you go. He answered that pretty quickly, even though there's a delay. Tonight, we've got Michael from Target, as well as Dave from VIP. I'll let them do a basic introduction of themselves, let obviously everyone know who they are, and then we'll do basically our news, and then we'll go on to the main topic where you can send in your questions to Michael, Dave, both of them at the same time, ideally, and go from there. So,
before you do that,
okay.
It looks like we got a tech for baby.
Oh,
Jay's wife is at the hospital giving birth. So we've got a tech for baby on the way. Congratulations, Jay and wife.
Yeah, congratulations. Just don't name it after any of us. We don't want to put it like in start off on a bad foot or anything like that. But there we go. So it looks like Lewis says hi as well. Evening, guys. You got Gamer Tech, Gadu, yeah, whatever. You got Sound and Vision is clear.
It's gamertech.org.
.org. Yeah, there we go. We've got Ian saying loud and clear. Dan, I'm guessing that's Target. Dan saying evening all, and Jay saying thank you. So, right, Michael, I'll let you start. Can you introduce yourself? Let everyone know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. So I'm Michael Lawrence. I'm the MD of Target Components, a veteran now of the Tech for Tech show. I think this is my fourth attendance, so maybe I get a T-shirt or something commemorative at the end. Looking forward to talking about a few things going on at Target and having a chat with Dave as well.
Okay, sounds pretty good. And over to you, Dave. If you want to introduce yourself, let everyone know why you have such a wild choice of shirt on, and go from there.
This is quite a subdued shirt for me, right?
Yeah.
This is my Halloween themed shirt. So I'm a head of purchasing at VIP. Like Michael, I've been on Tech and Tech Talk a few times, and on the live stream a few times. So yeah, just talking about what's up at VIP, what everyone's plans are for the quarter, and looking forward to catch up with everyone on the chat on how they're doing as we slide into peak.
There we go. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I'll put you on full screen there. Nothing against you, Michael. I didn't do it to you, but he's got a nice jazzy shirt on. So there we go. If Target dress had theme on, maybe would have put you on full screen. But there we go. We've also got quite a few people saying congrats, obviously, to Jay. Mark saying hi from RCS, so Rayleigh Computer Store.
Dan the man at Target, hello.
Yeah.
Ian
hello
saying
again.
hello. And
yeah. So, do you want to go on to the news then, Jen, before we go anywhere else?
Basically, TechMax 25, we are...
Oops, sorry.
You all right?
Yeah.
You're wild over there. TechMax 25, we're taking bookings for that, as you know, probably. And if you didn't, well, then you know now. We've got some really great people lined up, and VIP was one of the first to sign up as well. So shout out to them. The very first, though, was TechPoint Distribution, and Sanjay, thank you for that. Also, we've got a great lineup coming up that Phil's going to put on the screen, hopefully, and help me out coming along. We've got Case King, we've got Arrow Cool, Thunder X3, In-Game Gear, APNX, Lian Lee, Fantex, Co-Link, Haven, Nitro Concepts, Moza, Strimplified, Ducky, EADR, QNAP, VIP, Kingston, Spire, and awaiting logo.
One of those awaiting logos is Gamers Beat Cancer.
Oh yes, that's right.
And
that's
don't
right.
get me wrong, there's a lot more who have signed up, but we're just waiting information and payments, contracts.
Yeah,
and stuff.
our charity this year is Gamers Beat Cancer. I think that's a really good charity.
There you go. So that's all there. If you do want a ticket, there's free tickets available. So it's pretty straightforward.
Or
Free
you can
tickets.
go all out and get a night ticket.
You can get an evening ticket as well. Evening tickets are like £24.50, and we have sold out of the lunchtime tickets, but
Yeah.
you can actually still buy food at the cafe area.
And
if you
now
want
it's a
to.
card only, so don't bring cash.
Mhm.
They only accept cards.
Yeah, we'll be announcing more and more, obviously, as the event
Yeah,
gets nearer
yeah.
and so forth. But there we go.
Not to overwhelm.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just close that window. So hide that. So before we go any further, we just have to say thank you to tonight's sponsor of the show, which is ISL Online.
You can access and control any distant computer or mobile device. Sign up now and start supporting your customers.
So if you're looking for remote support software, feel free to check out ISL Online. We use them, don't we? So we've been using them for a few years. We use them in the store. Just scan the QR code on the screen or just go to their website.
What is wrong with you tonight?
There we go. It's been a long day. There we go. So again, if you are wanting to sign up for ISL Online, it's just islonline.com. Quite nice and simple.
Nice people to work with.
That's it. Right, let's get back onto the main topic then. So here we go. So right, guys, have you? So Welshie Tech is saying, let's have a look. Phil, can you get me signed up? I'm guessing that's for TechMax. Just send us an email.
Or it could be ISL. You never know.
Yeah. Well, if you want to get signed up for ISL, feel free. Hi, Alison. So, right, if anyone's got any questions, general questions about distribution, what the future holds, what's going on, just reading the last message. So, okay. I hope you know Gaming and Custom PCs Northwest, Michael, but apparently you look like a serial killer tonight.
I told you I looked tired, didn't I? I told you.
So yes, smile. There you go. So everyone can see you. Right. Okay.
That broke the ice, didn't it?
It did. There we go. So right. Okay. So let's just get on with it then. We've got some questions what came in before the show, so I'm going to go through those. But if anyone does have any questions they want to go through as we're talking, just post them on screen and we'll go through them. So first question, do you want to read that one out, Jim?
How are Target and VIP offering new products, services, or exciting innovations that specifically cater and meet the unique needs of independent and smaller resellers?
Start with Michael.
New services since we last spoke. I can't get over that serial killer comment. We so one of the biggest sort of things that we focus on offering as part of sort of more than just a box shifter and sort of value added services is very much around the custom PC builder solutions. We last quartered that it offered 309 trillion combinations. That number's now increased. Wow. It's increased, Jenny, if you can believe it. And there's been some extra work done around the sort of the functionality of the custom builder site to help customers sell even more. I think that some of the best examples I've seen of people using this, and I'll cite our good friend Ken at Canny Clever on this. He uses the custom gaming PC on an interactive board to do guided builds. So he'll walk the customer through and basically say, okay, you want to have this case, and it's brilliant because actually, okay, here are the options for what motherboard you want and what power supply you want, and etc. And he builds the kind of rig with them and does a really good job upselling and kind of cross-selling that. So we've been increasing some of the functionality and the services that we offer around the custom builder solution. And the other sort of really big focus for us has been very much on our own sort of custom PC build services around Logix and the sort of the launch and growth and development of Logix as a brand. So we've been really pleased that coming into the peak period, Logix has been taken off and it's proving to be really popular. We were talking before the show started about how it's easier to sort of sell a brand and to market a brand than just the services of sort of PC building. So that's been going really well, and we're really pleased with the quality, the service, and everything around it as well. So Corey and the team have got some really exciting stuff going on. So a lot of work for us on the sort of the build side of the business as a starter for 10.
Okay, so that's a pretty good start. So Dave, can you beat that? What have you guys got going off service-wise?
So one thing we get, I think I've been on several shows where we got asked about our website and when we're going to bring it into like the 19th century. So we've been doing a lot of work on that over the last few years, to be honest, but particularly over the last 6 months, and that has started to come off. So basically what we're trying to do is make it so that I know a lot of these guys who run independent shops, often you don't have time to sit around phoning, speaking to an account manager, dealing with things directly one-to-one when you're trying to serve your customers. So we're trying to make it so you can self-serve through the website. And I've had quite a lot of success making the website work for that. So that's been one of our bigger focuses for the independents over the last 6 months or so, and it's had quite a big uptake. It's starting to work. To help people out with that, if you're buying through the website, you can get free delivery as well. Again, we know that helps the smaller independents, just because you don't often have to build up a big basket. You might want to just buy a little bit, little and often. Again, we can fulfill that. So that's been one of our bigger focuses. The other thing we're doing is looking at the trends in the larger retailers and trying to make sure that can work for the smaller guys. So, for example, furniture's one that we're seeing do like great guns in some of the bigger e-tailers and retailers. We know that's not necessarily the same brands that will work in smaller guys. So we're bringing in some alternative furniture brands. So Brazen's a brand we brought on recently, which is a more affordable furniture brand. It's also a bit easier to ship because it's smaller packaging. So that's more suitable for the independent high street stores.
Yeah, well, they've got a lot less room. Question about your free delivery on your website. If I was to buy a 99p mouse mat, would that be free delivery?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Well,
nice.
that sounds interesting. Do you sell 99p mouse mats?
Probably
I
not.
don't think so right now, but technically, they're all you can buy any amount.
So everything's free online. Okay.
That's a good
As in
deal.
the delivery's free.
Yeah, delivery's free. Not everything's free.
Yeah, don't get us in trouble here.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, that's a pretty good start there. So, so definitely aiming for improving websites, definitely something good, because the amount of distributors we've come across, mainly the smaller ones, which haven't got a website or whatnot and trying to sell to independents, I think they do struggle, to be honest.
Nobody's got time to comb through a website and see if it's compatible or not. And
they want the information then and there. They don't have time to call an account manager a lot of the times. I know I'm the same. In the past, when I've been on site, you don't have time to call an account manager, find them on the lunch, and then wait half an hour for them to call you back. And
nor do I have the patience for it.
Yeah, exactly. So, definitely there. So that's nice to see that you've done the website. Right, let's move on then. So there's quite a few people watching tonight. So I'm not seeing much in the way of questions, though. So do you guys have any questions? Even if it's to do with Amazon. I'm jinxing you here, Michael. Even if it's to do with Amazon and the future, anything, feel free to send them in. I do have quite a few questions to go through, but obviously I'd prefer to see them coming in live. Also, hi to Gadget Joe, who's just signed in as well. Gadget Joe, why are you late? You can't have that.
He's always late.
Yeah, he's like 15 minutes late. It's the reasoning for that. Right, okay, let's go on to the next question we got. Jen.
Okay. How do Target and VIP foresee technology evolving in the coming years to better support independent and smaller resellers? And are there upcoming changes in your distribution process, such as automation or AI tools that will be making it easier for smaller businesses to collaborate with you?
It's a pretty big, quite long question.
So if you remember anything out of that, congratulations.
Yeah, believe it or not, that question was about the size of 2 A4 sheets of paper when I got it in. I cramped it in. So there you go, Dave. You're starting us off.
I'll jump on that one. Yeah, so that carries on the same sort of thing, really. That automation's part of it. Spread the website is part of the automation process. Again, you don't want to have to speak to an account manager every time you place an order. You just want to log onto the website, fill your basket, maybe fill it throughout the day, and then just submit your order at the end of the day. Part of that process is making sure that you're getting the best price on the website, so that you don't have to feel like you're missing out by not speaking to someone and phone up and go, actually, can I get a bit of a discount? Can I get my support applied properly? All that needs to work through the website as well, which is something we've made sure will actually happen. And so that you're getting vendor support applied, things like that, where it's applicable. And we've seen, I think it's a 350% increase in customers using the website over the last 4 months, year on year. So it's working for those customers who are using it, which is good. Another thing we're working on, and this is a slower burn, is use of AI support, in particular Copilot. So we're using that internally. we're still in the sort of testing stage, the pilot stage of Copilot, if that makes sense, where we're seeing how it works in our internal processes. So we've got different people within VIP who are applying Copilot to their work and seeing how it can be used, and whether there's gimmicky ways you can use it, and then there's actually useful ways you can use it to speed up your working day. As we work through that, there are things that we're identifying that would be useful to roll for small independents to roll out as well. And as we're documenting that, we'll then have a process we can apply to our customers and help them integrate it into their businesses. But that's a little bit further because honestly, we're still figuring out how to use it within our own business. But it's something we're also documenting.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Sounds interesting. Maybe we could have a show maybe in a few months' time or something when you got your co-pilot all set up and so forth, and run us through exactly how that helps yourselves. Obviously, if nothing's confidential or anything like that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
We have a question in.
Yeah, well, it's Michael's turn to answer this one first.
Oh.
So, Michael, your turn. You're not getting out of it.
The AI question's really popular. It's I always kind of feel like I want to have a better answer because I think it's so early in its sort of commercial application. It's there's a couple of ways in which we've started to use AI. It supports us with some of the marketing that we do, and I think that's probably the easiest way for somebody to actually utilize and implement it. Particularly the piece around sort of its imaging and things is quite tremendous. The way it can sort of create things sort of very, very quickly, very easily. The other thing we've started to do is use it for, I guess it falls under automation, but to see how it can help remove some manual processes. So it's helped us recently in product setups, for example. So we're exploring its application in terms of taking, for example, data from a supplier's site to implement it onto the target site to improve the sort of the quality of our sort of data population and data accuracy. It's mixed in terms of results, and I would say at the minute for every one that imports correctly, one has an error on it, which then you then have to manually go in and change. So sort of we're still exploring the sort of the use of AI, but I think that I'd be surprised if there's any customer of any size or any business of any size that wasn't sort of looking to say, yes, there's definitely something I can use here, but how best do I implement this? So it's an ongoing one for us, and I think probably most like most others, we probably watch for some of the bigger boys in the market, and by bigger I mean Google, Meta. Do you know what I mean? To see how kind of they implement it. I don't see Target being a visionary in this area, but what we'll always try and do, and Dave sort of gave a good example of this as well, is seeing where we can apply something commercially and then translate that through to an offering we can pass through to customers as well.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Again, guys, if you've got any questions, send them in. So we do have a question. If you want to read this one, Jen.
Okay. Target, any plans to expand your range of components? You don't seem to carry the higher end stuff. Example, highest price motherboard is £500, whereas you can get motherboards worth almost $1,500. Well, wow, somebody's got a lot of money if they want to spend more than that.
So there's okay. Sorry, I misread that at first. I thought it was saying that the highest price motherboard we sell is £500, but we can also sell one for £1,500. I thought we covered it really quickly. We're always reviewing the ranges. Our very simple sort of product strategy is to offer you something that offers you something sort of good, better, and best within the range. We try and do that in the brands that we offer across all the different categories, and we try and do that within the range of products that we store. We're currently working, for example, on a relaunch of the Marvo range, and even that applies the same sort of good, better, best type strategy. So if we've got a gap in motherboards, I guess that's it. We've got a gap at that sort of best at that kind of higher end range. I'm going to make a note and absolutely have a look at that. But yeah, absolutely, we're committed to offering something across the full spectrum.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Well, she wants to know if Target have any plans on expanding the monitor range.
Yeah, so we recently started to work with Iyama. Again, so looking at sort of the good, better, best. So we have the Pixel range, which obviously is it's a very, very, very good price point. We work with ViewSonic, we work with AOC in particular, and then we launched Iyama in September as well. So that was to try and fill that kind of sort of more of that kind of top end gap. Specifically for Pixel, we keep exploring variants in Pixel. There's actually we keep the range relatively tight, but there have been a couple of sort of variation launches this year. It's amazing what works and what doesn't. We think that we launched something that's, I don't know, a higher spec curved monitor, and we think that'll go down really well, and then it simply doesn't. And then we'll make a really simple change and add some features to a monitor, and actually it goes brilliant. So we keep exploring all the time, working with the manufacturer. So yeah, always. And if there's any specific feedback, then send me it through.
Okay, sounds pretty good.
And
Obviously, guys, if you've got any questions for VIP, you can ask those as well, or any more generic questions which cover everything, you can ask those as well.
Gadget Joe has a comment.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed a significant increase in the brands and products that Target offer, even in the time I've been working with you guys. Always exciting to see new things on offer. A little bit of praise there, Michael, from Gadget Joe.
Oh, thank you. I mean, we so one of the changes that we've made is we want to sort of work with some more. I think Target's been really good at bringing brands to market, and our exclusive brand range is offering a range of sort of affordable but very high quality brands like Prevo, Pixel, Logix into the market. And actually, there's incredible margins that resellers can make from those. I think if we did have a gap, then where we was probably more at the sort of the higher end. So strategically, trying to launch partnerships with some of the more established brands within the market rather than perhaps some of the more entry-level brands. So recent partnerships we've launched, Draytech, for example, Iyama, sort of working with established brands to try and offer probably a little bit more breadth to our range. I think the biggest thing, like everybody, is we just love the feedback. The feedback's quite varied and not always consistent, but where you're telling us the things that we can do better at, that's the piece that. So there's a couple of pieces of feedback already that I can take back to the team, and we can explore on the monitors and the motherboards.
Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's turn that question around and ask Dave basically the same sort of question: is what sort of new products have you got in, brands or anything like that, or have got lined up? And as a side question, we know Target has a lot of their own brands, shall we say. Does VIP have any of their own brands?
So own brand stuff isn't something we currently focus on. We generally focus on working with key vendors and manufacturers. We do have a couple of new and newer vendors that we've brought in over the last few months. So Brazen, I mentioned earlier, a furniture brand. They're a little bit more of an entry level. So we've seen growth in furniture, which is primarily gaming chairs, but also game desks. And by growth, I mean spectacular growth. It's right. The market is absolutely on fire at the moment. But that's through Corsair and Razer, which obviously, as you know, is a relatively high end, and also very retail and Amazon focused, which makes it difficult for the high street retailers to compete because the range is available in these guys, which we all know the issues there, right? So one of the reasons we looked at Brazen is that they're not widely available in your Amazon and your Currys, for example, but also the pricing's more a little bit more affordable and the range is a little bit different. They've got chairs that have got speakers in, for example, and they've got rocker chairs, things like that, which the other vendors don't do. So that was one brand we brought on relatively recently. We've expanded our Corsair range. We brought Height in, which they were the guys who pioneered the fish tank kind of cases.
Yep.
Which are now very widespread, but Height ones are still pretty top notch. Still waiting for full availability on the touch screen one, which we saw at TechMax, which is a really impressive case, to the point that they're like hen's teeth, really hard to get, but availability is getting better and better, so we should start seeing some supply of those over the next few months, like actually real available supply. Plenty of people have got back orders on for them. The stock is starting to come available now. And we've got Thrustmaster. We've got more availability on that. So that's a relatively new brand we brought to us. I do have some other brands lined up for the new year, but I'm in contractual stuff, so I can't talk about those. There's a few other brands lined up as well.
Speaking of Brazen, we've reviewed a chair recently from Brazen. It was meant for a teenager, to sit in, and that meant that Phil and I couldn't review it, so we got our Department of Human Resources guy, Bond the Labrador, to sit in it and tell us what his thoughts were. And he looked really cute sitting in it. It is a cute chair, and
Yeah.
it's got the speaker on the back and everything. I wish it had been adult size because it absolutely looks nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Subwoofer on the back,
Yeah.
speakers up on the headrest. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he didn't like the subwoofer and everything, but he says he's the only wolf around.
Right. Okay. Let's move on. Let's have a look. So let's go
Going
to
back.
Yeah. Sorry. Let's go back to the chat. So
Yeah.
this is from Gaming and Custom PCs Northwest again.
So do Target think they should invest more on key lines rather than spread their buying too many line and then have challenges matching competitors on GPU prices?
Evening, Alan. I don't think it's an either or. I don't think that we're not investing in key lines because we're buying too many other lines. I think GPU pricing at the minute is nuts, quite frankly, because the challenges of supplying the market in particular. Interestingly, Lewis from Gigabyte is on, so he's probably got an opinion on this.
Yeah.
It's something that our GPU motherboard buyer and I have been talking about a lot in the last week. I know Alan, you've spoken to him as well and sort of passed through some feedback. It's very difficult to get the pricing right at the minute because the challenges around supply. But for me, it's not an either or. We need to be better at both.
Okay.
All right. And Richard Overfield says a lot of ASRock boards have an M.2 slot for a Wi-Fi board, but no disties seem to stock the kits with M.2 Wi-Fi cards and antennas. Any plans to get those into stock? Either of you?
You go to Dave first.
So we don't currently work with ASRock. It's something we could explore. Generally speaking, if you've got specific requirements, you're not seeing them elsewhere. If you let your VIP account manager know, we can probably source it. It's just we need to know there's demand out there for it. So as these aren't motherboards selling, we probably haven't seen the demand, but that doesn't mean that you're probably not the only person asking for it.
Yeah.
So let us know, and I'm sure Michael's got a very similar answer. If you let his guys know, they'll go away and find it.
I've cheated. So whilst Target Michael doesn't know a huge amount about M.2 boards, Target Dan is very familiar and on speed dial and says that he is looking into it live on air.
Something we used to do in the store, because we used to have that same issue. I'm not sure if it still works. We used to buy the Gigabyte wireless adapters in, and then unscrew the actual M.2 off of that because it was a separate board, and then just screw that into the motherboard and use the antenna off of that. It's a bit of a waste in one sense, but it was actually cheaper than
it did work.
Getting them elsewhere. But I'm not sure if those are still available. But yeah, right. Okay, so let's move on. So let's have a look. Welshie Tech knows Brazen apparently, so that's good to know.
That's good.
Gadget Joe, what's he saying?
He says, I've got a Y70 Touch and I'm being offered huge markups for me to sell it. I'm keeping it for myself. Okay.
Good.
And hi to Ken, Prince, and Duke. And
how's everything up in Whitley Bay?
Yeah, how are things, Ken?
Does that mean Ken missed his shout out from Target?
There we go. GPU prices are stupid at the moment. I miss the old days when high-end cards were £600.
No kidding.
I miss the old days when a high-end card was like 300 quid. But yeah, those days have gone. So I think one of the issues you're having at the moment is obviously Nvidia's planning on bringing out the 50 series, aren't they? And is it January time? I think it is, off the top of my head. So they're probably reducing manufacturing capacity to push those. That's what happened last time when they brought the 40 and the 30 series out. And I think when they did it with the 30 series, it's when COVID hit, and then they closed all the manufacturing down and caused no end of issues back then. But there we go. We've also got Richard Creedy signing in. He's saying evening. So evening, Rich. Again,
Hi, Richard.
I don't think Rich is ever on time, is he? He's always late for our show.
He's not the only one,
I
though.
know, I'm joking. But there we go. Right, okay. So again, guys, if you've got any questions, feel free to send them in. We do have some preset ones, which we're going to go through now. So if you want to ask the next one, Jen.
What steps are Target and VIP taking to help independent resellers address sustainability and environmental concerns?
And who do you want to go first? I've lost track.
Let's do Dave first.
There we go. Dave, you're first.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so we're committing to be carbon neutral by 2050, which is a way off, but it's going to take us a while to get there. We're working with a consultancy firm specialising in ESG, which is environmental social governance, and we're going to extend that process to our supply chain to help assist our customers in becoming carbon neutral as well as part of the same process. So once this is finalised, we're happy to share that with the channel and support the channel on their requirements. As part of that, in the last year, we've saved over 1,000 kilograms of cardboard because we ship around 42% of our stuff using bulk packaging now. And the forecast over the next 12 months is to increase this to over 50%. Should save around 2,200 kilograms of cardboard. To ensure our package is sustainable, over 30% of plastics that we use internally are recycled, 100% of paper and cardboard is recycled, 100% of our pallets are either reused or sold to be repaired or reused in the wider supply chain. And all the materials that we use outside of that are either easily recycled or compostable, which includes by resellers that we sell to. So in that sort of area, we're trying to make it a little bit easier for you guys to hit your sustainability stuff, because obviously we've got our own requirement as part of all the different regulation that we're working towards, but we know that further down the supply chain you have your own requirements to hit as well. So on top of all that, if there's anything you guys need help with, or each in resellers or stores need help with in ticking the boxes or ensuring you're compliant or in working towards a certain level of compliance, you can let us know and we can provide either documentation or support or what our materials are, what plans are, things like that.
Okay, before he goes, see you later, Gadget Joe. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you get better soon. Let's move over to Michael then about start again. You say it. It's one of those days today.
Over to you, Michael.
I think if this was a battle of the distributors, Dave, I'd just give you the point for that one. We've invested in some sort of technology in the warehouse. It's fairly basic stuff now, but basically taking the boxes that are excess from out of the build room and then being able to apply that into packaging. And we've removed all of the sort of the little beads. And there was I think some conversations we had on one of the first shows I joined about how that wasn't working for people. So we've sort of replaced that with the recycled cardboard, which is, I haven't got a percentage, but it's helped to certainly reduce down on the waste. The other thing I would mention is the Prevo range. We've sort of done a lot of work with the packaging with the range, and it gets a lot of positive mentions for the sort of the colourfulness and the fact that it's sort of so retail ready. So that's all made from 100% recycled cardboard. And interesting fact of the day, the ink on the Prevo boxes is made of soy. So it's Prevo is a vegan friendly brand, which given our marketing manager is a fierce I don't know if he's vegan actually, but he's definitely vegetarian. So I thought that was quite cool.
No, that sounds pretty good. How are they for UV? So obviously in sunlight, in like windows and stuff, do they fade or? Yeah,
they do bleed a little bit more than we wanted. We were talking about this after our event because we had some sort of feedback on this. So they do fade a little bit quicker than we would like in the sunlight. The secret to that is to sell them faster.
Or don't put them in the sunlight.
So does that mean Target's doing a 50% discount so all the resellers can sell it cheaper then?
Perversely, Phil, the product is so good it sells itself that much faster.
Okay, let's move on.
Speaking of recycling and things of the nature, I remember years ago when Phil was doing call outs. I mean, we're talking a long time back. He kept getting deliveries in that kept saying pot noodles, pot noodles, pot noodles from Target. And I thought the ladies in the office must have been eating a hell of a lot of pot noodles. But what it was, Paul had some sort of an agreement with a grocery chain that they were getting boxes from. You remember
I
that?
don't know. Probably buy them
Yeah,
in
they were getting,
recycle.
they were recycling the boxes that some groceries came through. And
I can't
I'll never
remember.
forget that pot noodle boxes were shipping Target components
Yeah,
things.
I can't
Yeah.
remember the specifics, but I do know there was a lot of pot noodles. Yeah, definitely. There we go. One thing I don't like, and again, on the same sort of topic, and we get this when we're reviewing a lot of products, is the amount of plastic they put inside the
Oh God.
packaging. So, for example, you'll have a water cooler which it's got plastic over the radiator, it's got plastic over the pump. The screws are all individual in plastic and then in another plastic bag. And then on top of that, they've got a manual separate in a plastic bag inside another plastic bag with all the other screws and stuff. And you're thinking, how many plastic bags do you need? And do you really need a plastic
Yeah.
bag on them? I know.
And the whole radiator itself and the thing for the water pump and all that is covered in a bag when you
Yeah.
pull it out of the box.
And then some of the boxes have then got plastic over the box as well to
It's
protect them even
amazing.
more. Is there anything distributors can do to say something to obviously these places you're buying them from? So the vendors, I know some of these places are quite big. I'm not sure about Corsair, but let's just say we've had issues with a few different brands. Corsair's not one, or Prevo. I think you've said that you're already putting less packaging in your own brands, but what about the actual big brands? Let's just say Corsair or Razer or Eon or whoever it may be. Go to Mark first on that one.
The brands you mentioned are all distributed by VIP, not Target. So.
Eon, Eon. Okay.
Okay
Cool.
then.
Yeah.
It's much like, I mean, let's preempt an Amazon question later. There are a lot of things that manufacturers can do to improve, where distributors like ourselves can help to influence that. I've worked in market leading disties in different sectors, and it's very difficult to influence manufacturers other than sort of continuing to pass on the feedback as we always do through the vendor reviews that we have. We do quarterly reviews with all of our main vendors. It's a really difficult one, but look, it's an issue that we take seriously, and I think the more we talk about sustainability and good environmental practices, the more it comes through as a topic. In our exclusive brands, we take that on board. The Prevo package has been slimmed right down. You then have to challenge with the security and getting the product to its end user in one piece. But we certainly pass the messages on, but let's be realistic, it's a very difficult one.
Yeah.
It used to be when I was building computers for people other than myself, my hate was the individual pieces of shrunken plastic on the cases. You'd have a little bitty piece on the DVD drive, I'm talking ages ago, and a little bitty piece on where a card reader would go, and a little bitty piece here and there. And you had to inspect it after you got finished building it to make sure that you'd taken all the plastics off and everything. And you had this big wad of clingy film on your desk. And it was just, it just really disturbed me. It was just, I couldn't stand all this plastic.
Yeah, there was, still is. I think a lot of it's down to where they're manufactured sometimes as well. They don't have the shall we say, the rules and regulations, and they're not that bothered about the environment and so forth. They're more bothered about profit, and trying to translate that across the world doesn't always work. But there we go. Anyway, let's move on to the chat. So I think we've got, let's have a look. So Richard said he was late because we moved the show to a Monday and he forgot. So, that's your fault, not ours. So we've got Richard Overfield saying,
so much unnecessary plastic used packaging products. No need to shrink wrap products or have cables inside products in plastic bags. And I agree. I agree totally.
There we go. We've got PC Northwest again.
Is there a way to speed up the buying process by giving your account managers better leeway on pricing when a larger 10 grand plus order is on the table so they can get on more calls and we can crack on with busy period rather than taking hours for
Support or buyer approval, etc.
Okay.
I think Dave. Let's go, Dave, this time.
Yeah, so I think as I was saying, with the website, what we tried to do is make sure that support's preloaded, and the pricing's already as aggressive as we can go on customers who are buying through the website, to try and do that speed up thing, so you're not having to think, actually, if I was phoning up, I'd be getting a better price, and you feel like you're being cheated by going through the website. We don't want that to happen. We want it to be the best possible service if you're self-serving. And the same metric, if you are phoning up and speaking to an account manager, he can see the same pricing that you would see on a website, so it should speed things up on that angle as well. So that's kind of what we tried to do. There will be outliers sometimes, particularly if you're working with a vendor. If you've got managed account status with certain vendors, we have to wait for the vendor support to come through. And there can be a delay, particularly if the vendor's got an HQ in another country and support takes a little delay and there's a bit of back and forth. That can happen. But we've done what we can to try and speed it up, particularly not just in the busy period, but looking ahead to this period. But it should be something we can keep going through into the new year as well.
Okay.
Right.
Nice answer. And to yourself, Michael.
If you just paid list price, it would be faster. No, look, it's a conversation that Alan and I have had regularly, and shared sort of some ideas around business and how it runs and how sort of we can work better together. Alan understands how we sort of price. I think, look, when it comes to buying in bulk, whether it be from Target, buying from a manufacturer and offering down larger orders, there is potential sometimes to agree prices that go beyond the cost for one unit, which is the cost for one unit, which you can see on the website. Our turnaround times, I don't believe, are hours. But if there are particular issues, then Alan obviously knows that he knows the right people to speak to. So, yeah, look, we try and empower our teams as much as we can. We have sort of guidance and rules in place for Target for how we work and who can approve sort of what deals. I think certainly my experience at Target versus other businesses I've worked at, we empower quite a lot, actually. And actually, for the majority of cases, it works really well. And then sort of by exception, sometimes the account manager can access deals working directly with the vendors a bit quicker than our account managers can. And that's the nature of what their job is. So, but we're happy to continue to look at every option with you, Alan.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Emily likes your cat, Dave.
Which one was it? I've got 4. I didn't
There's
see what
one
it was.
crawling around in the background, little one.
Is it Tabby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. So someone's watching closely. I didn't even notice it.
I saw it go through there.
There we go. Dan, that's not an excuse. There's not a lot of sunshine in the UK, guys.
I was saying that earlier too, Dan.
Did anyone get a shock this evening when you left work at five something and found that it was pitch black?
Yeah, definitely. There we go. So Richard Creed is saying the screws could be put in a small paper envelope, or look what Ubiquity do, but use a cardboard insert in a small cardboard box instead of foam. Yeah, there's a lot of vendors who do that. I think Arctic, who do the liquid coolers and fans and all sorts. I think they're totally plastic free other than the product itself. It's all usually card or paper envelopes and stuff like that. So yeah. which is pretty good. Welsh Tech says all distributors should band together. Well, that's an option for them. I think Alan's saying you're still my favourite disty, Michael.
Even though I look like a serial killer.
Exactly. So, well, if he wants to buy from a serial killer, that's up to him.
You know what? I'm going to go on record for I think I'm the nicest serial killer you'll ever meet.
There we go. Right.
Frosties, yeah?
Let's have a look. Next question we've got. So again, if anyone's got any questions you want to send in, feel free. So this is the question we've got next. Do you want to read it, Jan?
What are some of the biggest supply chain challenges that impact you, and how are Target and VIP addressing them? And I'm going to give that to Dave.
Cool. So we're still seeing the impact of Suez. So we buy a lot of our stuff from the Far East. It has to come ordinarily through Suez Canal. It's still probably only about 10% of ships that actually brave it through Suez, and most ships are now still going around Cape of Good Hope. That's added probably, that would add a week and a half on its own. The knock-on effect of there being therefore fewer containers leaving Europe means there's a bit of a delay in the Far East of ships actually loading on. So that has a further knock-on effect of weeks of journey time. So that worsens the supply chain issues. It did cause container prices to go up quite dramatically earlier in the year. It feels like it's starting to come down again now, come down to approaching normality. But I mean, they do this throughout the year, so we'll see if it keeps that. That's quite a big challenge. Another one on a more local level is products are getting bigger. So cases are bigger, monitors are getting a lot bigger. I said before, furniture is a bigger part of the business in the UK. That's putting a bigger stretch on logistics because obviously, like, just bigger physically bigger products, you get fewer of them are on pallet, take up more space to store, and take up more space to ship out. It takes more manpower to carry them about. That's a little bit of a not as dramatic a strain, but it adds up to being a little bit more of a strain. And I imagine on the guys with their own stores, you've got to find space to fit these. You know where the average, if you go back, not that very long. It doesn't feel like very long when it was 18.5-inch monitors were the norm, and now 27 inches the norm, and 32 inches aren't that abnormal. And that's such a huge amount more space in your store, in your warehouse, on the truck. All that kind of adds up. And the same, like, you're trying to get gaming chairs in there, that's a huge amount of space. If you're trying to get chassis in there, chassis again, even small chassis are still quite big because they've got to fit these giant graphics cards in them. And like a 4090 is bigger than laptops used to be. They're like getting suitcase size. I think 59 is. It's ridiculous. So just the sheer size of everything that's in our industry is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's probably a kind of ongoing challenge. We are being flexible about it. We're basically changing the way our warehouse works, changing the amount of space we've got in goods in and goods out to make it work like that. We're adding additional resource in terms of manpower, but also we're actually adding more space to the building to make that work, and we're working with third-party logistics partners at key parts of the year to make that work as well. But it's a challenge for us. I'm sure it's a challenge for other parts of the industry as well.
Okay, over to you, Michael.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo Dave's points really, but I mean, distributing 65-inch and 75-inch interactive flat panel screens, the boxes. I mean, we've had to have special pallets made for shipping of the 75 inches. It's significant. It actually requires sort of a bespoke shipping solution, and you've got to work with the forwarders for that. The lead times, similar issue. I mean, we've seen in some cases lead times go out by sort of 4 to 6 weeks. I think there's been a knock-on impact in UK ports too. So we've seen some instances of goods actually they've landed in the UK, and in some cases it can be sort of a few weeks late, and then there's a bit of a backlog in the ports getting things over as well. We recently air freighted in. So we take the hit on this. It cost us a lot more, but we've recently air freighted in some products because it was quicker to put an air freight order on and have it shipped over than it was to wait for it to complete its journey into UK port and to us. So particularly as we come into the peak period and not wanting to stock out of key lines and keep a continuous supply. So I agree with Dave. I don't think that the shipping issues right now are as sort of as prominent as they were maybe last couple of years. It feels like we're sort of trying to get to kind of normal. I don't think we'll be there probably until, if nothing else major happens, probably until sort of the early part of next year. But certainly seen as well container pricing stabilize a bit. And I think that's probably the thing, and Dave will import sort of more than I would, but the volatility of container pricing can actually have quite a significant impact on the value of the purchase order that you're putting on, and then the impact that has on pricing and the decision making around whether you take that hit or you pass some of that hit through, or bounce it, and then getting your pricing right over a consistent period, especially when the dollar at the minute can swing sort of 0.02 in a day or so. It's fairly volatile, even though from a macro view it looks quite consistent. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the world still.
Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go to the chat. Richard's saying, "Be thankful we're not still selling CRT monitors." Yeah, I remember having CRT monitors and getting a large one, which was probably about 21 inches at the time, and you needed to reinforce the desk for those things. It was like crazy, but it's probably not far off now with the size of some of the things we're getting now.
Do you remember getting me my first flat screen monitor and shipping it to the States?
Yeah,
That's like a love story.
Yeah, he actually did that so I could game better. I had one of these old time curved glass monitors and everything, and he decided he was going to better my kit and got me a flat screen monitor. And I thought it was just absolutely huge. It was probably maybe 16 inches,
probably
maybe,
17 or something.
maybe, you know. And my mom
changed.
came in my room and she says, "Oh my God, it's like having a TV in front of you. How do you see?"
Well, back then, probably it's not that long ago.
It wasn't far off the size of a TV, though. Really,
25 years ago, you'd have a 14-inch, 15-inch TV
Yeah,
in the bedroom or
yeah.
something like that, or whatever. So times have changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Welsh Tech say monitors are getting scary big. Might as well call them TVs. Not far off. Not far.
We
off.
had to hire a special van to get a monitor to TechMax, one of our EAMA monitors.
Oh yeah, that 86-inch one. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that we had to hire a van for that. God, that thing's heavy. But yeah. Right, over to next question is going to be for Michael. He's been waiting for this one all night, I'm guessing. So, Jen, do you want to do the honours and ask the question?
How are Target and VIP helping independent resellers compete against major online retailers like Amazon going forward?
Michael.
It's the most popular question, isn't it? When we did the Q&A at the Target event, it wasn't just the first question, it was the first 8 questions, I think.
Yeah.
Value added services, basically. We have to provide something as a distributor that gives our customers something that you can't just get by buying one unit at a cheaper price on Amazon. So the services that you can get from Target around custom PC building, around flexible data and product feeds, working with us on the exclusive brands that we offer, where we're bringing products directly to market that you can then use to sell and make kind of great margin on. Listening to you and talking to you, providing point of sale solutions and marketing materials and all of that kind of type of good stuff, and having events where you can come and engage and sort of meet with others. It's all of those kind of things. And what Richard Creedy just wrote in the chat, they're too big. For us, it'd be like a goldfish starting a boxing match with a shark. You've got to be really careful. I think it is how you use it. I still maintain my point. I think it's beholden upon manufacturers to respect distribution as a channel, which is why I don't battle with the distributors. I think we've got to fight together to keep promoting this as a channel. I think there's space for all of us to play. But yeah, we've got to continue to focus on great customer service in order to differentiate ourselves and fight against this monster, because we do have to compete.
And someone wants to know, has Michael considered wearing clothes like Dave wears?
Oh, I couldn't pull it off.
I'm not sure I can.
Wearing the badge. wearing the
Dave,
badge.
can you wear normal clothes?
I was just about to say the same thing. I wouldn't know him if he was wearing something less flashy. So
Let's ask
Never
Dave,
changed, Dave.
ask Dave the same question about Amazon.
Honestly, I'm going to echo largely what Michael said. You can't go head to head with Amazon, whether you're a distributor or a reseller, because they've got more money to play with. So you've got to offer something better. You've got to, in a different way. If you're just going to go out on price, they're going to win because they can keep dropping their price, and they've got so much funding to play with that they can keep dropping their price, dropping their price, dropping their price. So as a distributor, hopefully we can offer something else in service, whether it's better support, direct contact with the vendors, direct connection with ongoing marketing support, things like that that Amazon won't do. The same thing goes into you guys. If you're buying from Amazon, you're not going to be able to compete with them. But if your business model is to compete with Amazon, it's probably not a successful business model because they already exist. Nobody doesn't know who they are. So we've all got to offer something that they're not. You guys have a bit of an easier job, to be honest, because if you have a high street shop or a PC repair business or something else, you're already offering something that they can't do, and you want to make sure that is what you're driving towards. You're offering that to your customers. You go into their houses to offer them, ongoing service and things like that, things that they're not going to do as a business, because they are just ultimately a reseller, a marketplace that people go to. And same thing on the distribution side. We aren't going to necessarily always be ahead of them on price because sometimes manufacturers go straight to Amazon, or sometimes Amazon will buy in a different region, which is very difficult. If Amazon's buying stock on the other side of the world and selling it into the UK, they can get very, very aggressive pricing that even manufacturers have difficulty sorting out. But there's other things that hopefully we can value add, and that again, sometimes we need to know from you guys what you want as a value add. I think keeping the communication open is the important thing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Michael, well, it looks like Amazon's took out Michael at the moment because he's disappeared. But
we'll go over to chat.
Just to carry on the Amazon thing is, if you're getting customers coming in to your store and just wanting you to compete against Amazon, they're probably not the sort of customer you want in the first place anyway, in all honesty, because no matter what you offer them in the future or at any point, they're going to be wanting it cheaper, and try and compete against Amazon. Your best bet with any product as an independent, we've done it many years, and is basically offer the product as part of a service.
Yeah.
So you're either doing it, setting it up, if it's a new machine, includes security and all the add-ons to go with it. But wherever you can, try and bill monthly for any of these things, so get them into some sort of service contract. With it's for the security, billing £3 a month.
It adds up.
Security,
you wouldn't believe how it adds up.
For the online backup and any other services you want, remote support and so forth. Bill them monthly, so reoccurring income. You get it every month, and you can tie that in with a lot of products and services. You can't do it with everything. If someone comes in for a keyboard, you can't really sell them say, oh yeah, well, I'll charge you £70 to go around your house to plug in this £5 keyboard. It's probably not going to work. But on some of your larger items, it's going to. Well, you never know. You might get that one customer who doesn't know how to plug in a keyboard. You do.
We've had several.
We've had many who don't know how to change the batteries in the keyboards over the years.
We've had several that didn't know they had to have them.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. Right, so it's getting towards the end of the night anyway, so it doesn't look... looks like Michael has reappeared. Let me just stick him back in there. So there we go. So you're right, Michael?
Yeah, sorry about that. They just went black. Apologies. Did I miss any hard questions?
No,
we
were just winding down on the one.
Decent distributor you could go and get a new PC from, actually. But no.
Amazon sell them.
So I don't know, actually. Well, Dave's at the top of the list, so... Right, okay, let's quickly go through the chat because we're pretty much at the end. So if you want to read out the chat, Jen?
We never usually have a problem competing with Amazon as long as it's an item that we've bought in quantity. Have you ever considered getting us all to commit as part of a large buying group of 200 plus independent stores?
Well, there are groups like that out there.
I was fixing to say.
Just jump in there. Tech talent, that is a lot of the times that's how we manage to lock support. So when we work with some of the manufacturers, we do get them to apply support to the distribution channel. And the way we get them to apply the support, because they go to their HQ to get the support applied to the UK. And the way they get the support applied is by us saying there are X number, and I'm sure the distributors do the same sort of conversation, is we have X number of customers who are available, who won't be competing directly with Amazon, who won't be competing directly with some of your retail customers. Because bear in mind, the manufacturer will be looking at their different channels and expecting to see a certain level of profitability in each one, and don't want Amazon to see a price, someone's website, drop their price and get the funding, right? So you often have to have not necessarily a large online presence to be able to qualify for this, but we use that as a way of negotiating already. There are ways we can probably do to formalize it a little bit better, and there are definitely things that the distributors can do to sync up with other vendors who aren't already on board. Step one's letting us know you're interested in that product. And then step two is us working with those key vendors. So, but yes, it does work. With some vendors, it won't. Some vendors aren't interested. Most vendors are interested in getting more customers, particularly guys with a high street presence, where people are going into their shop, getting hands-on with their product. It's just a matter of how they can make it work internally, often with their HQ, which can be in the US or in Taiwan, and it's telling that story to their HQ, right? Because the local guys normally get it. Guys like Lewis, I know he's in the chat, they understand the challenges, they understand what they want to do. It's making that story make sense to the guy at HQ in Taiwan or the guy at HQ in Texas, for example.
Well, she says something I will say, though, is at the exclusive brands, let's say Pixel, you can price it at a very good price. But if you look on other websites, you're paying a premium for the exact model.
Yeah, because you're not having to compete against Amazon, because obviously you're buying it directly from Target, and hopefully they're not selling it directly to Amazon.
Yeah.
No.
And Ian says, yes, the Amazon power buys will generally win. However, I often see companies like Scan having the best prices. They seem to get really good manufacturer direct prices. Do they offer you guys any of these ultra deals?
Dave, let's go Michael. I think he was quiet on the last question. So Michael, do you get any decent deals from Scan, or do you actually supply Scan?
In this ever convoluted world in which we live, supplier, customer, and competitor in part. Then there are numerous other examples like that. VIP and Target actually do a hell of a lot of good business together, more so than probably we compete, if that's fair to say. Yeah, we do some work with Scan. I don't know if we've had an ultra deal. I don't know what an ultra deal is, if I'm honest.
That answers that.
Not too sure, but maybe
maybe I'm missing out. I don't think I've had an ultra deal from Scan.
There we go. But obviously they are dealing between each other's in probably small quantities and stuff, maybe. But you have to remember, especially with the distributors, it's a bit like independent stores. Rather than competing against each other, you should be friends with each other, and the distributors do the same thing with each other. I know at TechMax we have the Battle of the Distributors. Most of you guys who have watched it and so forth, you know it's more actually of a battle of the distributors against the likes of Amazon and other things rather than each other, to be honest with you, because most of the distributors work together. I remember when we went to visit Spire one of the days, and I think they were calling Target to order something, or someone from Target was calling something to order from Spire.
I think Mike was on the phone with Michael.
I
think so.
Something like that, and it happens. They all work with each other, just like your independents and the Tech for Tech group are asking each other to help each other. Has anyone got this? I need this for a customer, and it helps. It goes through as well. Ian saying the example was a Corsair 850 watt gold power supply. Everywhere was £100 plus, but they had it for 80 quid. This was a few months back. Special direct pricing was live for a week.
Wow.
So sometimes the e-tailers and system integrators will get direct opportunities from manufacturers. Sometimes that'll be because they're intending to put it in a system, and then for whatever reason it doesn't go in the system. They might have surplus that they sell off the website that can give them some better pricing. Sometimes they just get by a certain surplus amount of stock might be available, and they get the opportunity for pricing on that. Sometimes it's just dollar rate. And like we were saying, like Michael was saying, the dollar rates be going up and down, container prices be going up and down. So sometimes you see pockets of stock where one distributor, or in this case, an e-tailer, has got some pricing that's really, really aggressive, but it's because they bought it at a certain time, and they might have bought it from Corsair relatively locally at a good price. And meanwhile, the Corsair distributor's stock could have been traveling from the Far East, bought at a much different price. And it looks like a massive delta when you actually apply all the things got into it. The pricing was probably only a little bit different, but all the rates that got into it, by the time it turns to GBP, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Right, guys, we're going to call it a night after this next question. So the last question is: independents can do better. So basically, if you could identify one key area where independent resellers need to improve, to evolve and grow in the future, what would it be? And Michael.
Oh, great question. I draw parallels to Target. How does Target differentiate itself in a space where we distribute, but are one of the relatively smaller distributors in a world that contains the likes of VIP, but broadliners who are they're even bigger fish in our tank. You've got to differentiate yourself. So we focus in on supporting independent retailers as our primary customer base, and we try and do that by creating solutions and services that benefit the customer. And we believe that if the customer wins, then we win off the back of that. So I think you've got to find services that you can offer to your customers that differentiate you. So even if the Amazon might be 50 pence cheaper or a pound cheaper, there's still a reason why they come to you, because of the service. Some people will always only ever be driven by price. They only come to the show for the freebie. We know that type of customer exists. There is a place for them. But I think you've got to continue to find a way to differentiate yourself. And if I look at some of the sort of strong independent retailers that are out there, Alan's done a very good job with how he differentiates himself through his Facebook advertising. Ken's created the most amazing store on his high street. They're sort of some examples of different ways in which you can do a business. So find a way to be different, and then embrace it and accept that you can't win every deal every time.
Okay, sounds pretty good. And Dave?
Honestly, that's going to be literally my answer. Me and Mike often come here and agree with each other, but he got in first. Yeah, specialised. You can't go head to head with the big guys, and you're not going to win on price. You've got to win by specialising. So every one of you guys who is successful have all got something you're really, really good at and you're really well known for. Like, lean into that, absolutely into it, because it's what's going to make you even better known and what's going to continue to make your business grow, whatever it is that you're already known for, that you're already specialising in, folks. Whether it's PC repair, whether it's home visits, whether it's having a fantastic storefront, whether it's gaming, whether it's networking, whatever it is that you absolutely lean into, focus on that, because you can become an expert in that field in a way that these big resellers can't. And then you'll get a customer base that comes to you for that, and will maybe pay that little bit extra, and will stay loyal to you because you're good at it.
Well, she says he'll pay more for better service.
Yeah.
So that
put his prices up.
Yeah, definitely. What I'd like to add on to that is, and we see this so often, is a clean, tidy, and smell less store, or at least a nice smelling store. Amount of stores
at least one where you go in and there's a nice air freshener smell.
That. And also remember, you're not competing against everyone around the country or the world. You're generally a local small business. You're only competing really with the companies or brands around you. So you only have to be the better one in your area. And that only needs to be 1% better at something. If you see someone doing something, don't just copy it. Just think of a way of actually making yourself just slightly better. And that's all you need to be that 1% above everyone else, and to get that custom sometimes.
Be the best at what you do.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
You don't have to do everything, but be the best at what you do.
Right, so we're going to call it a night now. So before we go, we've got a live show on next week, which is the 4th of November. It's a Monday at 8 o'clock. And it's called Keeping Your Customers. We've also got another show the week after, on the 11th of November. We're going to be launching a new service. It's called Tech for Techs Plus. So we're going to tell you all about it. And on top of that, we'll be telling you about another service we're going to be launching in 2025. So again, that's Tech for Techs Plus, and the service in 2025 is called Real Tech. So we'll talk more about that in a couple of weeks. And otherwise, we need to say thank you for tonight's sponsor, which is ISL.
You can access and control any distant computer or mobile device. Sign up now and start supporting your customers.
Right, and also thank you to Dave and Michael for joining us tonight. It's nice to have VIP and Target on the show. We'll be having another show similar to this. It'll be after New Year now, obviously quarterly, if anyone doesn't understand that one. But is there anything you'd like to add before we call it night, Jan?
No, just thank you to everyone who tuned in and our guests tonight for being here with us, making it possible.
Thank you again, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you
For watching.
Thanks a lot.